Welcome back. We are working in our workbooks again today, starting with page 199. So be sure you've got your workbook and you're on page 199. And we're going to be talking more about solving algebraic equations, including a lot of word problems today. So let's go. So on page 199, in this first section, we've got 13 through 16 explain how to get the variable alone in each equation. So this isn't even asking you to solve these, it's just saying what do you need to do to that variable to get it alone, right? So this is 8y, which is the same as 8 times y. So what do you need to do? You need to divide by 8, okay? And so forth for all of those. And then in 17 through 20, it is asking you to solve these equations. So I think that you guys can do these problems on your own. So this would be a good time to pause the video, do the work, and then turn it back on when you're done and check your answers. All right? Okay, so let's see how you did with those. For number 13, you needed to divide by 8. For number 14, multiply by 15. For number 15, multiply by 8. And for number 16, divide by 31. And then in 17 through 20, you had to actually find the solution. So 17, d equals 216 because you're going to multiply both sides by 2. And number 18, you had to divide both sides by 800, and then you would get s equals 9. Number 19, you had to multiply both sides by 3, and then you would get x equals 882. And number 20, you needed to divide both sides by 3, and you would get x equals 33. Okay? So now let's take a look at the rest of the page. We've got some word problems here. Lolo typed 1,125 words in 15 minutes. Let W represent the number of words typed for each minute. If Lolo typed the same number of words each minute, how many words did she type in 1 minute? So I'm glad that we're doing this type of a problem because it's starting to get into what we're going to work on in the next unit, which is rate and ratio. So if she did 1,125 words in 15 minutes, and it wants to know how many words did she type in 1 minute, okay? So W equals the number of words typed each minute. So there's your variable. So set up that equation and then solve it. For number 22, we've got in 12 weeks, Felipe earns $4,500 doing yard work. He earns the same amount each week. Let M stand for the amount earned each week. How much does Felipe make in 1 week? So we know how much he earns in 12 weeks. We're going to use M as our unknown, which is the amount he earns each week or in 1 week. So set up that equation and solve that one. Why don't you pause again, solve those two, and then come back and check for your answers. Okay, so I said since the W stands for the number of words in 1 minute, and I know she typed for 15 minutes, and I know that during those 15 minutes, she typed 1,125 words. This is my equation. 15W equals 1,125. Then I divided both sides by 15 and got W equals 75. So she's typing 75 words per minute. That's pretty good, Lolo. Okay, let's take a look over here. So again, we knew how much he earned in 12 weeks. We knew that M stood for 1 week, and there were 12 of them. So I set up 12M equals 4,500, and then M ends up equaling $375. So he's earning $375 each week. Okay, here is one of my favorite word problems in a while. You know how I love the word problems where kids have bizarre hobbies and truly strange amounts of things. In this problem, Abel has 3,330 toothpicks. Abel, what are you doing? He wants to use them all to make a floor mat with 18 equal rows. Okay, Abel. Use the bar diagram to write a division equation. Then solve the equation to find how many toothpicks Abel should use in each row. Boy, Abel, come on. You need a different project. So here's the bar graph, though. So the full bar is all of Abel's toothpicks. And then he knows that he's going to make his floor mat out of 18 toothpicks. So how many sets or how many rows, how many are going to be in each row of his 18 rows of toothpicks? So set up that equation and help Abel with his really bizarre project. By the way, who the heck wants to walk around on a mat made of toothpicks? Okay, next one. Model with math. Emily took an airplane trip. Her plane flew an equal number of miles each hour. Let M stand for the miles flown each hour. Write an equation to represent one way you can find out how many miles Emily's plane flew each hour. So here we have her ticket, and we know that it's 12 hours of flying and that the destination is 2,184 miles away. We also know she's in 23B, but that really doesn't matter. We don't need to know that. Okay, so set up your equation for that one, solve it, and pause. When you're ready, start it up again. Okay, so here we have Abel and his little project. And I said 3,330 divided by 18, that's the number of rows, equals T. So what we found out is that there's going to be 185 toothpicks in each of the 18 rows that make up Abel's extremely uncomfortable floor mat. All right. And then for this airplane ride, 2,184 miles divided by M equals 12. So how many miles Emily's plane flew each hour? Okay. Now let's look at page 200. So here they're talking about the area of an isosceles triangle. And if you don't remember all about isosceles triangles, that's okay. You can still solve this problem because it gives you all the information you need. So here's the triangle. And we know that the area of the triangle is 44 centimeters. And we also hopefully remember the formula for finding the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. But even if you don't, it shows you the equation right here. 1/2 times 8h. Then if we look at the diagram, we can see that 8 is the base and h is the height of the triangle. And we know that that area is 44. Okay, so you're just going to solve that equation and then find the area. Now it says if the perimeter of the triangle is 32, remember perimeter is the distance around the shape, what is the length of each of the two sides? Write and solve the equation. So we know that one of the sides is 8 centimeters, right? We also know that the two remaining sides that we don't know are equal to each other. Okay, keep that in mind when you're setting up your equation. Why don't you pause the video here and solve those two, and then check to see how you did. Okay. So what I said, I used the equation they gave me, 1/2 8h equals 44. So I went ahead and took 1/2 of 8h and got 4h equals 44. Then I divided both sides by 4, so I could get h all by itself, and I got h equals 11. Okay? Now for this one, 2s plus 8 equals 32. Okay? Then I subtracted 8 from both sides and got 2s equals 24. Then I divided both sides by 2, so I ended up finding s equals 12. Okay, and then if you try that out, if each of the two sides are 12 centimeters, you'd have 12 plus 12, which is 24, plus 8 centimeters for this side, and together that equals 32, so it works. Okay, now Kelsey and her 4 sisters spent an equal amount of time cleaning their home. Their parents added their times. They found that each of the 5 girls spent 3 hours cleaning. Boy, their house must have been a mess. Let C be the total number of hours the girls spent cleaning. Write and solve a division equation to find the total number of hours the girls spent cleaning. So you've got 5 girls, they worked for 3 hours each, and C is the variable you're going to use. And notice that they tell you to solve a division equation, okay? Okay, now higher order thinking. Veronica traveled 562 miles. She drove 85 miles per day. On the last day of her trip, she only drove 52 miles. Write and solve an equation to find the number of days Veronica traveled. Explain each step of your problem-solving strategy. I like this one. I think it really makes you think a little bit. So, why don't you pause, set up those equations and solve them, and then check to see how you did. Okay. So I remember that it said to use a division equation, and I said, okay, so it told me to use C for the total number of hours. And if I divide C by 5, then I will get, because 5 is the number of girls, then I will get 3, which is the number of hours each girl worked. So then what I do is multiply both sides by 5, because right now C is divided by 5. So you could, it's like 1/5 C, or C over 5. And I remember I want this to just be C. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5, and then I get C equals 15. So 15 hours of cleaning. Okay, number 28. This one is cool. So 562 miles, 85 miles almost every day, except for on the last day. On the last day, she only traveled 52 miles. So, and it told me, let's see, did it give me? Okay, so I used D for the number of days, okay? And I said 85D because it's 85 miles each day. And then 52. 52 is for that last day. So, and it equals 562 because that's the total number of miles she traveled. So the first thing I did was to subtract 52 from both sides. So that, because I'm working towards getting the D all by itself. So then after I do that, I get 85D equals 510. All right, makes sense? Then I've got 85D equals 510, but I want just D. So I'm going to divide 85D by 85, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of the equation. So I'm going to divide 510 by 85. And then I get D equals 6. So this D here is 6. So that's 6 days of driving 85 miles a day. And then I know that last day she drove 52 miles. So 6 days of 85 miles and 1 day of 52. So the answer for the number of days is 7 days. I think that was kind of a tricky one. Good. Okay. Moving right along here. Number 29, generalize. A movie theater sells 11,550 tickets for 50 sold out showings of the same movie. Write a division equation that you can use to find the number of people who bought tickets for each showing. Use what you know about dividing with larger numbers to solve the equation. Okay, so the movie theater sells 11,550 for 50 sold out showings. If they're sold out, that means every seat is taken, so the number of seats for each showing is going to be the same. So what would you do? You would say 11,550 divided by 50, and you would get 231. Okay? All right, assessment practice. In February, Calvin School used 4,920 pounds of rock salt to melt ice on its sidewalks. One bag contains 40 pounds of rock salt. Choose yes or no to tell which of the following equations can be used to find out how many bags of rock salt B, Calvin School used in February. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different equations here. Which of those could be used to solve that? Pause for a minute, look through them, test them out, see what you think, and then unpause and we'll talk about it. Okay. So 4,920B equals 40? No, that does not work. Okay? Because it doesn't make any sense at all. This is the number of pounds times B could not equal 40. Okay? All right. 4,920 divided by 40 equals B. Yes, that works. And then over here, 40B, that's 40, that's the number of pounds in each bag times the number of bags. Yes, that works. And here we have 4,920 divided by the number of bags equals 40. That one works too. Okay. One more page today. So we have the cost of t-shirts for 4 different soccer teams are shown below. Notice they are all different prices. And we've got team A, B, C, and D. And we've got a couple of problems connected to those. Lorna is on team A. There's team A. Ben is on another team. We don't know which team. They paid, except for Ben knows. Ben, you know what team you're on, but so this one should be easy for you. All right, Ben is on another team. They paid a total of $21.25 for both team shirts. Write an equation to represent the cost of Ben's shirt. Don't tell anyone, Ben. All right. Now, Dario also plays soccer, and he says that based on the price of Ben's t-shirt, Ben is on team A. Is Dario correct? Explain. Okay. And then the last one, go ahead and do that one too. How is solving for unknowns involving money like solving for unknowns involving whole numbers? Okay, so set up equations here, see if Dario's right, figure out how much Ben's shirt costs, and answer this one. Pause the video, come back and we'll talk about it. Okay, so Lorna's on team A. That means that her shirt was $12.50. Ben is on another team. We don't know how much his shirt costs. So I just used B for the variable for that unknown shirt cost. I do know that the total cost was $21.25. So my equation was B plus $12.50 equals $21.25. Then I subtracted $12.50 from both sides, and I was left with B equals $8.75. So that means that Ben is on Team C. Okay. Now, was Dario right? No. Nope. The cost is $8.75, so he must be on Team C, not on Team B. And then for this one, it's really the same. All the strategies are exactly the same. They're just you're using decimals instead of whole numbers, but you don't do anything else differently there. Okay? So, good job on that. I'm really enjoying meeting with you in those small group meetings. Please keep coming to those. Save your questions. I hope that these word problems are making sense to you. And we're getting also into two-step equations, which is great. You're doing awesome. I will see you next time. Bye.